that.
Okay, yeah, we'll spend the rest of the day practicing our introduction of ourselves.
Right. Right. Well, it is Friday. We do have another show planned for you. We are expecting you to jump in and have a really wonderful discussion to get us into the weekend. Remember, this is the third Sunday of Advent coming up. Gaudete Sunday. Rejoice. Rejoice. Amazing. I just love it. Then we can start transitioning to the Christmas carols. You know, this is when Christmas caroling starts taking place after the third Sunday of Advent. Pretty exciting, getting ready for Christ's birth. But before that, we're talking about things we dread. Things we dread. Have you ever dreaded doing something? Now, Jeff Burson, our social media expert, who's amazing on all of the teams, really, on EWTN. He does such a fabulous job on EWTN radio. Put up just a very powerful meme for our show. And then Jerry wrote the show description that is on Take2Show.com. Take2Show.com. And Jerry, if you would please read what you wrote, because I think it's going to set the table nicely for our listeners to enter into this discussion. Now, while you're listening to Jerry, start dialing now. Okay, Ryan is waiting. 833-288-3986. Okay, now I'll point right back to you, Jerry. Go.
Well, I really believe you will have something to say. You'll be able to weigh in on this topic. And it has to do with, have you ever really dreaded doing something? And Jeff created this meme with Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And that actually was spot on, because it was while meditating on the first sorrowful mystery of the Rosary that we got this show topic. And I wrote on the website, into every life come duties and responsibilities that we sometimes really dread. We fret, worry, sweat, even at times get ill thinking about what lies ahead. This topic came to us as we pondered the first sorrowful mystery of the Rosary. Our Lord Jesus Christ knew what the immediate future held in store for him. In his humanity, he even asked his Father if it could pass him by. This scene was powerfully portrayed by Jim Caviezel in Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. We witnessed Jesus so overwhelmed with dread at his coming passion and death that, as the Bible tells us, he actually sweat real blood. While the things we dread may not rise to that level, nonetheless, we do come face to face in life with things that we absolutely wish we didn't have to do. Let's talk about this on Friday. And that day has come. That moment has come for us to discuss this right now.
You know, and as you were reading that, I was thinking about the things in my life that, you know, thanks to the ministry work that we do, when, you know, we talk about Stand Tall all the time. And TALL is an acronym for Take Another Look at Life. And it's really a wonderful way to kind of switch the angle a little bit and look at it from a different position. And when you do that, you can enter into things that we dread, things that we do not look forward to at all. In fact, it really takes an emotional and sometimes physical toll on us as we are about to take that action or to do something. And if we look at it from a different perspective, we can walk away from it and walk through it much easier and with a spiritual understanding and enlightenment, if you will. It's very interesting. So let's keep that in mind as we are having this discussion. I just thought of that, Jerry, as you were reading the synopsis. So we've got the first calls coming in. We need to hear from you. As we always say, or I always say, do not get started with your weekend yet. We need your help. 833-288-3986. And if you're outside of North America, our international callers go first to the head of the line because we understand that you're calling from overseas. It's country code 1-205-271-2985. Most of the time, you guys prefer to just send us an email or a comment on YouTube or Facebook, and Jeff Burson gets those as well.
Well, I came up with a few examples here, and there could be millions of them about things that we dread having to do, and yet we get to the point where it has to happen, and we go, you know what, I have no choice. I have got to just press through with this action that I'm dreading doing. And a few things that I came up with, Debbie, a lot of people have to make a return phone call to their doctor's office after medical tests, to get, you know about that.
Been there,
you
done
you
that
just
many
you just
times.
wish that day and that moment would never have to come, but you have to make that call. What about if you have a son or a daughter being married outside the church, and you have to somehow tell your son or daughter, you know what, I can't attend your wedding because it's not going to be a sacramental marriage. It's not going to be in the church. Maybe you've had to inform a family member or a friend that they have lost a loved one. You know, emergency personnel, Debbie, have to make those kinds of phone calls as well. A lot of things, a lot of directions this can go, and you take it where it is going to go at 833-288-3986.
Jeff Burson just wrote over, even going to the dentist. A lot of people dread going to the dentist. That's very true. So many things like that, or sometimes even, how about this? I know for me that I thought it was the last time walking into a courtroom facing my former husband. That was really, really tough. It turned out it wasn't the last time. We went on for 2 more years fighting in the courts. It was horrible. And I remember the last time I left a courtroom, I said, I hope I never see this again, not even on TV. I don't, even sometimes when I see courtrooms on TV, my body, I recoil. It's just horrible. I don't know if you've never had that experience, Jerry. Well,
but these things stay with you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're living proof of that. So some other things that you could call in. Maybe you're on the job at the workplace and you see a coworker, stealing time or stealing items or committing crimes or whatever. You got to go to your boss. Or go to them first, maybe, and talk about it. Maybe you have knowledge of a neighbor who's cheating on their spouse, and you've got to somehow bring that up to somebody. These are just some examples, but in your own lived experience, if there's been something you have really, really just dreaded and just said, I have to do this somehow, I have to get up the courage, the strength, pray to God for his help. 833-288-3986.
We're having a lot of messages coming in. Folks are sharing about their family situations of things that they are dreading that are coming up. So let's talk about it. Let's see if we can walk away, like we always say, a little bit changed, hopefully a little bit closer to God, but we need your help. 833-288-3986. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you.
Hello, Journey Home family. Next time, we'll welcome Dr. Brian McGee to the program. Dr. McGee is a former Wesleyan and will share what led him to the Catholic faith. Share the journey next time on EWTN's The Journey Home.
The Journey Home with Marcus Grodi is seen and heard around the world on EWTN. Join us Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on EWTN radio and television.
St. Augustine gives us tremendous insight as to why we should pray. He says this: why God should ask us to pray when he knows what we need even before we ask him may perplex us if we do not realize that our Lord and God does not want to know what we want, for as God he cannot fail to already know it. But rather he wants us to exercise our desire through our prayers so that we may be able to receive what he is preparing to give us.
I'm Lisa Poptek with More to Life. Advent is the time to reflect on how God took time out of the busiest schedule in the universe to be present to us. This Advent, take some time to make more time to be with the people you love. Make Christ present in your home by being more present. Let God's love be incarnate in the way you attend to the people you care about, and let them know that the most important thing you have to do is spend time with them.
We can't say it enough. We're happy that you are part of the Take Two with Jerry and Debbie family, and thank you for listening here on this Friday as we talk about things that we have dreaded in the past. So we come up to a decision and action that we have to perform or to make. And it just really, really weighs on us. Sometimes we fight our way through that, and it turns out to be okay sometimes. So we can talk about that if you'd like. I just want to mention the National Catholic Register. It's a publication from EWTN, and it is America's most trusted Catholic news source with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctively Catholic perspective. And stories on today's front page include what the year of St. Joseph means and how to gain the indulgences. Is the rare Christmas star visible this December, the Star of Bethlehem? And this one caught my attention. Only frequent church attendees avoided downward mental health trend in 2020. Those are some of the articles today. National Catholic Register. It's ncregister.com.
Okay, just a couple things I want to share because it is Friday. We do have a couple open phone lines, so we'd like you to jump in and share things that you have dreaded doing or participating in the past, or something that's coming up. What did you learn from it? Did you approach it with your spiritual eyes? Let's talk about that. It's taking another look at life. 833-288-3986. And I just wanted to do a big shout out. We're sending this shout out all the way to Alaska. Tiffany, thank you so very, very much. Tiffany, you are just a precious soul. You made, wow, Jerry and I were talking about, you made our year, I think, with your beautiful email, Tiffany. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful email. It touched our hearts. Jerry and I read it about three or four times, and we talked about it, and we just love your heart. And you sent it all the way from Alaska, and you said such kind words about the show and the discussions and conversations and topics we have here. So thank you. You really captured our ministry heart, and that's beautiful. And then the other thing I just want to say real quickly, Jerry, if I may, Stand Tall today, we have a growing list of certified life coaches, Catholic and Christian life coaches, and we have free consultations, and you guys are taking advantage of it. We had one person yesterday have 5 free consultations with all these different coaches. It was great. You can do it. They're free consultations just to see what life coaching is about, so you can spread the word. And we understand now that we have some pastors from different Catholic churches that are very interested as a resource for their parishioners. So to the clergy that are listening, we have so many. If you get in touch with us, please, we want to be there for the faithful, for your parishioners, and to help them, move past the obstacles and live that really, beautiful, God-given, purpose-driven life. It's just, we want that. We want that for folks. And that's what we have committed the rest of our ministry work, probably for the rest of our lives. Jerry and I are not getting any younger, and we decided that this is going to be it. We're going to give everything back to the faithful, and here we are. Right, Jerry? So it's standtalltoday.com.
StandTallToday.com. Please check that out if you can. And today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, we were talking about dreading things, really dreading things. We use as the example, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he knew what was coming in the immediate future for him, and he dreaded it so much, at least in his humanity, that he sweat real drops of blood. And maybe we don't quite react that way, but there are things we come upon in life that we just wish we could avoid, kind of do a little go around or something, but we just have to press through them. 833-288-3986. Claire was first, so we will go to her first in Austin, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Claire. Welcome to Take Two.
Good morning. I actually had sort of like a separate question, but it actually ties into what you're talking about today, and it's sort of like a double-edged, like a two-edged question.
Sure.
My sister texted me, and I have avoided answering her back, telling me that her and some of my other sisters are going to get together to celebrate the inauguration of Joe Biden, and that they're going to have snacks and be celebratory and everything. And I just am kind of horrified. And I tried to talk to her before the voting to tell her that as Catholics, we're not supposed to vote for anyone. And I know you guys can't endorse or anything. I'm not going towards that, but
right.
I just feel like I explained to her how important it was that we vote, the way the church says that we should. And so I don't know now, should I tell her something like I don't think it's correct to be celebrating someone who endorses abortion, who ran on a platform endorsing abortion? And then that brought something else to mind. I was couldn't sleep last night. I was thinking about it. I mean, I did fall asleep eventually, but I was thinking, as Catholics who voted for this person, is it a sin, and should they think about that before they go to communion? I know that's a very touchy thing to talk about, but it is a valid question that I have, because I don't know whether I should bring it up to her or not. I don't want to antagonize her or fight with her or anything. We're the closest out of all my sisters, I'm closest to her. She's kind of sensitive, so I don't want to tell her anything. But at the same time, as a Catholic, I don't know if I have a obligation to tell her, you should really go talk to a priest about what's going on here. So can you guys give me some advice?
Boy, oh boy, Claire, thanks. No, I'm just teasing with you.
I know. I'm sorry.
Actually, Debbie just typed me a note. We're not in the same location. And she, just right as you were saying, she says, talk to her priest to get advice. So maybe you should do that. As far as, are other people sinning by voting for a pro-abortion candidate? Well, if they're voting for them for that reason, because they are pro-abortion, absolutely, it's a grave sin. I would say, we all have a duty to form our consciences according to the teachings of the church, natural law, divine law. And our bishops just recently, in fact, and I think in their last meeting, came out and said the preeminent issue for Catholics, Christians, and really that extends to all people of the world, is the defense of human life in the form of abortion. So I think there's no question about that. Debbie, I don't know, as far as attending this inauguration party, I would maybe just counsel Claire to just say to them, you know what, we have philosophical disagreements on this particular situation, and I am going to spend my time that day doing something else.
Yeah, like maybe going to church, right? Or going to adoration, Claire. Here's the thing. What Jerry said, his explanation, and absolutely spot on. He said it perfectly. You can tell he definitely was seminary trained, and it's perfect. What I just wanted to say, Claire, here we're in a position in this world right now where people have decided to take sides. Let's face it, they've decided to take sides. And then people have sliced and diced the catechism, okay? Even, let's face it, even some clergy have done that as well, okay? The best thing we can do, and I'm going to go right back to what my own bishop used to say all the time, Bishop Olmsted from the Diocese of Phoenix, stick with the catechism. Say what the catechism, remind folks what the catechism says and leave it at that. We're not going to be able to convince people. We're not going to be able to coerce or change their feelings or their actions, because everybody has that, what we call this great gift, free will, right? And so we just teach what the catechism teaches, and that's it. If people have, the ability to process things out, it's like Jerry said, it's unfortunate, because I do believe that, when you talk about formed consciences, we have a little bit of a problem, because we're getting multiple sources that are trying to form our consciences, okay? That's why we have to get back to Scripture, to the church teaching, to the catechism, and we stick with that and we go with it. And that's it. And this is what I think anyway, Claire. This is the part that I'm going to share just from my own personal view, because I deal with family and friends in the same situation, that we all kind of end up on different sides. I'm trying to align myself as closely as possible with the Catholic Church. What other people do, it's out of my control. I can only tell them what the Catholic Church says and teaches, and that's it. What do you think, Claire?
I agree with everything you guys said. I think I didn't express myself right. There's no question I'm not going to that celebration or whatever. But I think what I wanted to know was, as a Catholic, do I have an obligation sort of like to tell her, like, you might want to go talk to a priest about your stance, or should I just not say anything at all? Well, and, at simultaneous, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quickly, Claire, I think you said at the beginning of your call that you did share with them what the church teaches. If you did that already, yes. in my opinion, you did your obligation. Okay. That's why I would say you fulfilled your obligation as a good and faithful Catholic. We are called to teach what the church teaches. We are all of us are like catechists, whether we know it or not, by our baptism. We're called to go out there and teach what the church teaches, if we are authentically Catholic. Now, you, Claire, are authentically Catholic, it sounds like, and so you're going out there teaching what the church teaches. So that's what you're called to do. When you go past that, and when it turns out to be something that you feel that there should be additional a direction on, that's when I would consult a priest or a deacon that you trust, bring them in on it, explain the situation, and say, Father, am I clear? Did I do everything? Should I do anything else? And get that clear direction from a sound a clergy member, and then I would rest at that, because there's not, we can't go crazy over this trying to convince everybody what Jesus teaches, what the church. It's going to make us all really. It's going to make it really hard to exist in this world. Okay, so we do the best we can. We give it our best as an authentic Catholic Christian, and then we have to, then we resort to prayer and rest, because that's key. What do you think, Claire? You go ahead and finish. You had something else to say, though.
No, I thank you so much. I mean, I just needed a little reassurance, I guess. I kind of knew what you're telling me already, but it's always like, when you feel like you're the only one against the whole, the whole of your family or whatever, you just kind of need some reassurance from your fellow true, authentic, people who are trying to be authentically Catholic. I just had another simultaneous thing where I have some people in my family that are living a homosexual lifestyle, saying that they're married, and I'm the only one who doesn't congratulate them on Facebook every time they put up an anniversary or whatever, and I've been ostracized, and so it's very hard, just feeling like you're the only one, without any, without people who say that they're Catholic, standing with you. You're the only one. So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's what many of us are going to experience if we do not, support such a lifestyle, especially where the presumption of marriage is there. And of course it isn't. I mean, there is just metaphysically, there's no such thing as same-sex marriage. So you are going to be ostracized, as you said, Claire, and that's too bad. But I think in both of these cases, by not going to the inauguration, you are saying something. You are expressing, again, like you already have, that you do not support the policies of the man who may be inaugurated our president in January, and also by not gushing on Facebook, over the wedding pictures or the pictures of these two together. You're saying something there as well, and I think that's all you can do. If people know where you stand, like Debbie said, then it's time to just love them, not approve, but love. Give them your love. Tell them I love you. I'm praying for you, and then do pray. Do pray, because people put themselves in very, very dangerous situations spiritually, and sometimes it's those of us who love them but pray for them and do not approve of that really can be the difference in bringing them back to God potentially.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Claire?
I just thank you guys. I think you guys are wonderful, and I thank you guys for being my family that I can turn to for advice and help when I feel like there's no one that I really can ask. So God bless you both.
Thank you, Claire. And Claire, you need to know something. The Take Two family and all of us that we are trying our hardest to be, aligned with God and authentically Catholic. There's a lot of us, Claire, a lot. Thousands and thousands and thousands. So you have a big family. You have big family support. Don't feel alone, because, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to convince people of the absolute truth when in their minds they have compromised, and in their minds they think they are living that truth. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, just keep on doing what you're doing, because we so need you guys. Obviously, you have callers every day that are calling with all these different situations, and we're just, trying to fight that good fight. That's my motto. That's my life's motto. I have it on my Facebook page. Keep fighting the good fight. So,
amen. And don't ever think, any of the Take Two family, don't ever think that, Debbie and I are up here, we've got it all together, and you guys are down there kind of seeking our counsel or whatever. We're in the swamp, we're in the gutter with you. Sometimes the dirtiness of life, we're right there with you. So we need you guys too as well, Claire. So thank you so much for your call.
Okay.
We appreciate that. Have a blessed weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
You too. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You were trying to say, in a nice way, we're hot messes.
Yeah. It's sometimes, there is that temptation, I think, for people to look at Catholic radio or TV personalities and say, wow, well, they're there and they're doing that because they've figured everything out and they've got it all together. No, we're just trying to make sense of this whole messy world along with you guys. So we really do appreciate your support, being part of the Take Two family.
Absolutely.
And, you give us kind words all the time, but we turn that right back around on you. That's why we say it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you.
That's right. And I just want to say one other thing about this idea of really living in truth. Okay, when you hear the truth, and the Catholic Church has it right, folks. Just read the Catechism. When you hear the truth, you know it deep in your core of your being that it's true. The problem is you just have to make some changes. That's the problem. So let's talk about it on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Raymond Arroyo, Dr. David Anders, Father Mitch Pacwa. The leading Catholic voices are on the largest Catholic media network in the world. You're listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hey, Take Two family, it's here, and we can't wait for you to see what we've created to help you reach your highest potential in life. It's StandTallToday.com, our brand new website loaded with just the things you're looking for. Those include our team of life coaches, resources picked out just for you, our webinars, book club, and more. Whether you're struggling to find your purpose or feel like you have it pretty much figured out, let us help you today at StandTallToday.com. That's StandTallToday.com.
Have you ever heard someone say, I accept some of the things the church teaches, but I could never embrace the entire creed because there are some things in it that I just don't have any use for? Well, G.K. Chesterton says, you might just as well say that there are a great many things in the Encyclopedia Britannica for which you have no use. The church, like the encyclopedia, is meant for everybody. It's not just for you. It's meant for everybody, which just happens to include you. The Catholic Church is a combination of things that are nevertheless one thing. We cannot accept only part of it without rejecting all of it.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information and go to EWTNRC.com to discover more books and programs written and inspired by G.K. Chesterton.
I'm Gloria Purvis.
I'm Monsignor Charles Pope.
And I'm Deacon Harold. The Morning Glory team asks if limiting family size leads to more abortions.
Monday morning, 7 Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Good to have you with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We round out another week of what we think are impactful programs, really driven by you, the listeners. So thank you so very, very much. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. We thank Jeff Burson for doing double duty today. He's on the board, being our producer and getting us the social media comments off of the YouTube and Facebook channels. And Ryan Penny is on the phones today, and we're going to go back to those phones right now. So thank you all for your patience. Jaylee is next in Enfield, Connecticut, listening on WJMJ. I love that, WJMJ. Hi, Jaylee.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for the call.
So my question is, I met my husband through a friend, well, his brother's girlfriend, whatever. At the end of the day, I ended up getting married to my husband. She ended up getting married to his brother. You know, I'm 29 now. Throughout my whole relationship when I was younger, there was always problems with her where, like, she would humiliate me or say things in front of a whole bunch of people. Nobody would ever say anything, and I always felt bad because I saw how it affected my husband's relationship with his brother, where his brother, like, they always had a positive relationship, but they never really spent time together because of our differences that we had. So, you know, now to the future where you know, I have a baby, she has a baby, I'm pregnant now again, and it's like when I had my first pregnancy, she reached out to me to see how I was, and it was really hard for me to kind of accept that because I had prayed so long to God, I don't need to be anybody's best friend, it really affects me it affects my husband's relationship with his brother, like, it really hurts me, like, I wish I could do more for them to spend time together, but that affects that, to the point where like his brother didn't even go to our wedding, and it wasn't like an argument or anything like that. They were just like, oh, well, we're moving to here a week before he was getting married. It's like, you're not going to get a job within a week. So it's hard for me sometimes because I know I pray for the situation to be better, but then it's a person that's also, I do feel like our relationship has gotten better, but then it's like whenever I see her in person or anything like that, she acts completely different than how it is if we're like texting each other and seeing how one another's doing. It's like a lot of times we can be in the same group and she'll just ignore me, and I'm like, that's just weird. Like, if you're okay with someone, why do you act one way and then another day another? So it's like sometimes it's hard for me to know, should I continue that relationship? Should I remain distant? Because there's been times that I remain distant and then it like blows up in my face like, oh, well, why didn't you text me back, or why didn't you? But it's like at the same time too, I kind of want to like, you know, I have confronted her in the past about problems that we've had, but part of me feels like, you know, I really want to be like, well, why are you being, you know, so two-way? Like one day you're one way, one day you're another. And it's like, I'm not really comfortable with that. But then I'm like, I don't know if that's just God trying to form me as a patient person and trying to show me there's just situations you're going to have to let go and not kind of let it really bother you. But sometimes it stresses me out a little bit, so I don't know what they do.
Sure. Jay Lee, here's the thing. She's family, though. Okay, you're having kids now. This is family. The family's getting bigger. And the extended family I'm talking about. Couple quick questions, because we can't do everything in a couple minutes, and you can always feel free to email us take2@ewtn.com. But where are you both at, you and the sister-in-law? Where are you at spiritually? And is there any jealousy factors playing in it? I was thinking the same thing, and Jerry actually typed over, so I know it to be true, because that's usually how the Holy Spirit works. So where are you at spiritually, both of you, and where do you categorize her as? You know, maybe she's a little jealous, envious, what?
So she doesn't, you know, she went to like Catholic church and stuff like that, like I was raised, but you know, we're Puerto Rican. When I went to Puerto Rico, I had a deeper connection with God. And since then, like, I did a retreat, and my life has been completely different where I look for him. And I've even gone to her and preached to her, but they don't practice. Like, they baptize their son, but they don't go to church. They don't do anything. And then it's just like, I've sometimes thought of that, like that there's jealousy, because when I first started dating my husband, like my husband introduced me to his family quicker than what his brother did. Like a lot of things happen, and then she would always have a reaction. But I'm just like, I don't want to think that, because I feel like that's just like a negative thought, and I'm not in her heart or soul. But it's like even when we've ever had differences, she may be like, well, I'm not jealous of you. I'm not just, it's like, I'm not telling you that you're jealous of me. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why you're acting this way, because it's crazy.
Right. Okay. So, but Jay Lee, here's the thing. You're not criticizing her or judging her for being jealous. The reason why I ask that is because it's a very powerful, strong, driving sin, if you will. That's why I'm saying that sometimes when even if you want things to be different in your relationship with her, it may not, because that's a very powerful force that's playing in this envy or jealousy. So there's a couple ways you can handle it. You guys could, all four of you could get some coaching or counseling and try to hit the reset button and reestablish all your relationships. And we're going into a new year. You could go into a new year and have a whole new understanding with your relationships. You could try to maybe slightly reach out to her and see if you can share some spiritual stuff with her, meaning that not so much preaching to her, but saying, hey, would you like to join me in prayer on this? Hey, I need a partner, I need a buddy, and I want a family member. Would you like to say the rosary with me? There's things you can do, because remember, we only know a person as much as they know God. So if she's not really developing her spiritual life, you don't know that much about her. So you can be interacting with her all you want, Jay Lee, in a great, honest, beautiful way. She may not be at that same place. Okay. And you're right. It's going to take a toll on your husband and his brother's relationship. And that's unfortunate, because family, if you can make family a beautiful thing, especially when little kids come along, okay, that's wonderful to have that added support in this crazy world, because this world is against the family. So as much as you can keep family together, I would say do it. It's important. So there's some kind of little quick, helpful, maybe skills and tools and hints that maybe you could think about, pray about with your husband, and see if there's something you could approach maybe going into 2021. Jerry?
Well, Jaylee, listen to Debbie. What she just said is brilliant. I can't add to that, Debbie. That was really good.
Oh,
no,
thank
very,
you.
very, very sound. What do you think, Jaylee? What do you think about what Debbie was sharing?
I've tried to do those things in the past. It's just like, that's why I don't know. Like, when we've been in Puerto Rico and they've been there, like, we've always invited them to go to church with us. We've always invited them to pray with us. Even like, we had like something happen where it was really drastic for me and my husband, and we really needed support. And like, we invited them to pray the rosary with us. His mom and his sister did. But it's like, that's why, to me, that's why it's hard, because I'm like trying to figure out. And I completely agree with her. Like, I don't know where she's at spiritually. And like how you said, I've thought of that too, as well as like, well, spiritually, she's not where I'm at. And that's how I try to kind of cope with it and be like, well, God only knows her relationship with him, but maybe, she's just not there. And that's why it's not that easy for her to let that go and go forward. But that's why I've always kind of been confused, because that's one of the utensils that I've tried to use the most, because I know she does believe in God. She went through some stuff in her own life that was really hard. And I tried to kind of use that as like the middle point for us so that we can understand each other. But it's just been hard trying to figure out how to like keep moving forward with it. And most of the time it's just been like me praying, because I'm like, I can't change her, and I don't want to let this to keep affecting me and how it affects my behavior, because I do go to church. And not only that, I don't want it to make me fall into sin because I feel, a certain way after a while, because I'm only human.
Right.
Well, Jaylee, we've got some other calls we've got to get to here, but this is I think it's an important call, a very necessary conversation that you're having here. And I think to be able to talk with someone at greater length, maybe off the air, would be helpful for you. Debbie mentioned a little bit ago our life coaches. They're at standtalltoday.com. I just want to point your attention to one of them, Rose Sweet. Rose Sweet, her by the way, her website is rosesweet.com. But she is just fantastic at dealing with issues like what you're discussing here right now. Debbie is as well. But I really encourage you to maybe get in touch with somebody, and because you just use the phrase, how you want to know how you keep moving forward. That's the important thing, that you don't get stuck in this, and then it just really kind of ends up impacting all the different areas of your life. So, Jaylee, if you want to as well, you can email me and Debbie. Debbie, can maybe offer some other thoughts that, in addition to what she shared there. Our email is take2@EWTN.com. It's either the number 2 or the word spelled out, take2@EWTN.com. We do hope to hear from you, Jaylee. We just have to get to a few other folks here, but thank you so much for calling, and have a blessed weekend and the rest of your Advent.
Thank you, Jaylee. Jerry, we're getting an abundance of emails and comments coming in. Where are we going next? We don't have a lot of time. I always get nervous when I look at the clock.
Oh, I thought you meant where are we going, like on a pilgrimage or something.
Oh.
We're going to Ohio. Al in Ohio. Hang on. You're right after Linda in Ohio. Linda's listening on Annunciation Radio. So, Al, hang on. You're up next. Linda, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am calling because of dread. I have a grown child in their 40s who is in an adulterous relationship, and I cannot stand to be around that. It makes me sick. It makes me angry. It makes me sad. My grandchildren are around it as a friendship because it's somebody they've known all their life, which makes it even sicker to me. I just don't want to feel sick. But I was listening to the first two callers, and as far as Claire, she was mentioning not adulterous, but homosexual relationships, which I believe in today's world we all have somebody. And I never congratulate them. I always say, God bless you. Because I feel that takes away the congratulations and shows love without approval of the sin, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to love without approving of the sin. I don't know how to handle my situation with love, and yet I can't approve of the sin.
Right. Well, you just said it so beautifully, Linda. You just said it right now. You love them, but you cannot approve of this sin. Adultery is a major sin. So are you saying that one of your adult children they're in a current relationship right now that they have gone public with, and one of the parties or both parties are still married to somebody else?
No, my child is. My grown child is still married. And even if she wasn't, even if my child wasn't still married, she would still be in an adulterous relationship because she can't get a divorce. Right. Divorce isn't the answer. To involve her children in it it just doubles the stomach punch to my gut.
Well, okay, but Linda, hold on one second. Here's what happens, okay? In any minor sin or a serious sin, as in adultery, okay? What happens is everyone tries to normalize it. That's what happens. Everybody tries to legitimize it. They try to validate it. They try to make it okay. Somehow it's going to fit into the puzzle. Right? This happens with everything. It's not just with adultery and relationships and same-sex, unions. It's with you can apply it pretty much across the board. Okay? What needs to happen is clear, true Catholic teaching. The church teaches this. I align with God's teaching. I align with the church. I love you, my dear sweet daughter. I love you. I would die for you. I'm your mother. I love you. Okay? But the church teaches this. This is God's way. This is what is going to bring the most grace and peace and blessings to this world and to the next and to for all of eternity. And this is what I choose to adhere to profess. Okay? You, my dear loving child, are standing outside of that. So here we have a conflict. You want me to accept this? I cannot. So where do we go from here? I love you. And that's where I would leave it at. And I've had this conversation with friends, with family members. It happened with me one time years back. My sister had a conversation with me. I was cohabitating with my first husband for a little bit before we got married because of financial reasons. And my sister sat me down and said, "We have a problem. I'm not coming to your house, and I may not come to the wedding, and I may not," and she left it at that. And then I had to make choices, and they were difficult choices for me, but I made them because she was right. She was right. So, but she still loved me. We're close.
Did you know that right away, or were you mad?
Yes, Linda, I was angry at first because she was my sister, and my sister should love me, no matter what I do. No
matter what.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. But
right.
when I got home, Linda, about 20 minutes, I called my mom and I said, "She's right. She's right. As hard as it was for her, she's right." That's what I'm trying to say. People know down deep it's right. They have to be willing to make the necessary choices to change, to shift a little in order for God's grace to enter in. Otherwise, they're just pushing God out of the circle, Linda. Your daughter is headed for places that she's not going to be able to tap into God's graces. And that's unfortunate. She deserves to tap into God's graces. And she's closing it out by the choices she's making.
God's graces. I have been praying and I mean extremely prayers in my Bible studies, in my daily prayers for her and her husband. They've been separated a year now, but the affair has been longer than that. I realized that after the fact, and I have been continuously begging the Lord to open up her heart, to open up her Catholic upbringing. I don't see it, and it's been like 5 years that I have been doing this. Now, that might be 5 seconds in God's timing, but the children are growing. They are in a lifestyle that this man is their friend. They like him. He buys them presents.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah,
I don't want anything to do with him, and I feel like such a phony Christian because I hate him. I hate what he's done to my family. I hate what he's done to his own family.
Yeah, you actually, Debbie put it best. You are being authentically Christian in your approach here. It sounds like you mentioned about 5 years this has been going on. There's a saying that goes something like this. I hope I get it right, and that is, talk less to her about God and talk more to God about her. See, sometimes we just have to simply take a step back. We know deep in our heart. You talked about it.
I don't talk to her about God at all. We do not have that relationship. She told me once, you know, Mom, all you're interested in is religion and politics, and I'm not interested in either one. And we have had a long history from her teenage years until her 40s of conflict. And I am the one who works very hard at keeping the peace because I love her. I love her. I want a relationship with her, but I don't have one. But I also love the 4 grandkids she gave me. I do not know what happened to her. I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what, Linda, again, just for the sake of time, we have a few minutes left before.
I want to go because I want you to get to more people. I don't want to take...
No, that's fine. What I was going to suggest, we're happy to carry on the conversation. A lot of people email us, Linda, due to time constraints on the air. We don't have those same time constraints off the air. And our email address, as you might have heard us say, is take2@EWTN.com. Take2@EWTN.com. And as we have suggested with a couple of other callers today, and maybe you've done this already. If you have, God bless you. But you might even want to talk to your priest or your deacon or somebody and just help them, give you a sense. You need peace about this, not about what's going on and acceptance, but you need to have peace in your heart that you are approaching God fervently, passionately praying for this. Turn to St. Monica. God loves your daughter and this gentleman.
I have. St. Monica and I have a lot in common, apparently.
And our book. How about our book?
Yeah, Debbie and I have published a book. Yeah, you might want to. It's called Trustful Surrender, Linda. It's stories of grace amidst crisis. It's 11 stories written by people like you, the Take Two family listeners, of loved ones who left the faith. And there are some who have come back, some who have not come back. We wanted this to be a very real, raw, good, bad, and ugly type of book. So EWTNRC.com is where you can get a copy of that book. It's called Trustful Surrender. But please know of our prayers for you, and we absolutely encourage you to email us at take2@EWTN.com.
And you're not alone, Linda. We've gotten text messages flooding in. People are in similar situations. So, this is a real problem we have. And I would just encourage folks, if you go to your priest or pastor or deacon or religious at your church, make sure it's somebody that you trust, that is very sound, very authentically, adheres to Catholic doctrine. Because unfortunately, we have a world today where people, slightly can twist it a little, and that can be problematic. So make sure you get somebody you trust and go to for that additional help. Jerry.
Okay, thank you again, Linda, for the call. We're going to get to Al, who's been holding, seems like since yesterday. Al, thank you so much for your patience, sir, in Avon, Ohio, listening on The Rock, one of our favorite stations. Hi, Al, go ahead.
Hi, Al.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I was set back with a comment about Jesus at Gethsemane. I've always been realized that Jesus went to the Father, and he went with total conviction that the Father would hear him out, and that the two of them would work something out. And I just think that that to me is just he perfected prayer at that moment, and it's kind of stayed with me. And he as he prayed to the Father, he did like what an athlete would do, trying to perfect his performance. One personal example of that in my life was resentment toward my dad, and I couldn't get rid of it. I could not get rid of it. It would crop up, and I would get angry and frustrated and mad, and how he treated different people. And but I finally realized that the word forgive was in the Lord's Prayer. It's right there, and it challenged me to do something. And I did get down on my knees at that moment, and I just talked to the Father. I just talked to him as I'm talking to you and sharing a meaningful event in my life. And I was overwhelmed with the warmness in my back, and overwhelmed, just the feeling of calmness, and the fact that it's a relief. I've released that bitterness and that resentment toward my dad. I've asked him to do the same thing to me.
Al,
I think that Gethsemane is a perfect example of what we need to do.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Jesus, all through the Bible, in the original languages, it's Abba. Abba doesn't mean father in this distant, authoritarian, sense, but it means daddy. It means daddy, a little child jumping up on the lap of his daddy. Jesus taught us that and admonished us, encouraged us, said, you pray this same way. We have to see God as our Father, as our Daddy. You had resentment against your father. Al, I have had resentment against both of my parents that I have had to work hard for many years to get over. And it's like we hear all the time about the different stages of grief, for example. Well, I think forgiveness can have different stages as well. We kind of work on it. We try to forgive from our hearts, and that's like taking a chisel and just chipping away a little bit for right now. Sometimes God can grant us, full peace and relief from that right away, but other times, like you said, it's like an athlete. We have to really work hard at some of these things, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it, and you are a living example of that.
Well, thank you, and God bless your program, and I wish you all a blessed Christmas. Thank you very much.
Same back to you, Al. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Al. Thank you so very much. Jerry, I don't think we're going to get to the rest of the comments. We're getting emails. Jack in Massachusetts on the Station of the Cross. I don't think we're not going to get to you. We're down to a minute. We are getting emails and comments coming in. Jerry, maybe we should, I'm thinking about something. I just thought of this right now. Maybe post something on Facebook. Maybe we can helpful hints to get through the holidays, kind of the life coaching way, the stand tall way. Like us on Jerry and Debbie Facebook page, please. Jerry and Debbie Facebook page. We'll be posting something because we're getting so many comments. People need it seems like we're all in the same predicament, Jerry, with our family and friends.
I want to thank Jose for your email. We couldn't get to Zach, Joseph, Brian, and Jaylee has already emailed us, who was on the air on the call. We invited Jaylee to call us, to email us, and she has done just that. So thank you all, and we appreciate the calls, the social media comments, the emails, and everything. We have another show coming up on Monday, and that is, are you fearful for your children's future? With everything going on in the world right now, do you wonder, do you worry sometimes about that? We'll talk about that Monday. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, pray for us.
Dr. Ray Guarendi, making your parenting more fit, making your kids have less fits, and making